What is going on, everybody? Welcome to part 2 of the CyberPython 2077 series. The universe is actively conspiring against me to film this video. The camera continues to freeze. I have a neighbor that is determined that today is the day to sit in your driveway and just rev your engine for like 30 minutes. So here we are on take attempt number 3. I'm determined, and I'm going to take control of my destiny by getting rid of the webcam. Nice. Okay, so where we left off, we were kind of walking and following that yellow path, just kind of as a proof of concept. And now what I'd like to do is, since that does work, is figure out, what are we going to do from here? So my proposal is that rather than following the yellow path, so those of you who aren't familiar with Cyberpunk 2077, the yellow path leads to main game objectives, the quest line, that kind of thing. Whereas the blue paths lead to these police scanner events. So with the police scanner thing, all you do is you would follow the path, you get there, there's some bad guys, you fight the bad guys, rinse and repeat. So it seems like that's probably a good starting point. So I think that's where we will start. So with that start, we have to make a change. Rather than following the yellow path, we're going to follow the blue path. So in line with kind of how I did the last video, I think for the most part, I'm going to bring in the code kind of piece by piece as we make it. So rather than handwriting everything and character by character, I think it's a little silly to do something like this that way. So if you like that, or you want to see more hand coding or something like that, let me know. But I think this makes the most sense. So yeah, we're going to follow this blue path. I've conveniently set myself up to where we'll kind of walk this way and then cross that crosswalk, which often leads to running into a car. And that's kind of one of our other problems, is often you'll get stuck on stuff and we need some way to get off of those things. So we're going to go over how we're going to do that. Okay, so first thing is to come over to Sublime Text. Hello. And begin making our changes. So I think also I'll try to put this on GitHub. If I forget to put it up or put a link, and one of you really wants it, just post a comment or something like that. Remind me, and I'll put it up on GitHub. So to start, we want that blue path rather than the yellow path. But there's going to be plenty of times where we want that yellow path. So I propose that we save them both. We just need kind of a way to start collecting all of these color filters. So my method for doing this is just to save them as constants. So it's just going to be tuples of the lower and then upper values. So then the only change that we need to make is in the pathing function, rather than just taking in minimap, it's also going to take in a color. This will be that tuple. And then essentially it just becomes lower, upper, and then we'll unpack that color tuple that gets passed. So then all we need to do is come down to where we call the pathing here, and then we'll go ahead and pass color equals. And in this case, we're going to try to follow the blue path now. So go ahead and save that, and I will run it. And hopefully I don't forget to show what I'm supposed to show, but I probably will. We'll see. So we'll go ahead and run that, see how we do. Hopefully we cross the street. Let's see what happens. Starts off okay. Still got that really jaggedy mouse, but that's okay. We'll also fix that today. Okay, so that looks actually pretty good. We didn't run into anything, but at least, okay, yes, we are following the blue path. At least that seems to have worked. So look both ways before you cross the street, and hopefully we can get back to our starting spot. Cool. The path is so weird. So I'm sure we will see it, but it's it's so random, and that's part of what we're going to try. Or the next thing I'm going to show you guys is sometimes it updates correctly, but then sometimes the blue path will actually be behind me. Sometimes the blue path won't actually update all the way to the character, so we have to handle for that. I mean, there's so many little things. It's a fun challenge. I guess it's a silver lining. It makes it interesting to make an AI like this, but there's a lot of little stuff. So anyway, let's hop over to Sublime Text again. Let me get rid of the command window and make some of the changes that we want to make. So first of all, if for some reason, what happens sometimes is the yellow path might reach the character, but the blue path, it could be behind us. But also, like I said, a lot of times it doesn't fully update all the way to the character where we're looking on the minimap. So we want to handle for that as well. So the way I'm going to do that is with a try and except. This logic is probably going to make some people angry. That's okay. So anyway, paste and pop this over. So now, rather than just simply, this was what we had originally, now what we're going to do is we're going to try that. But if that does not work, so if the path is behind us, what we're going to hit is a nan when we go to attempt to calculate the error. So we'll hit an error, and then we'll just accept, and we'll say, we'll just print this out to console just so we know that it's happening, and we'll attempt to follow the yellow path. Now, sometimes that won't work, but I'll explain that in a moment. So let's go ahead and save that. We'll go ahead and run, and let's see if we can get back to everything. Cool. Come over here. Great. Okay. I think we'll be okay, but yeah, sometimes that yellow path overlaps the blue path. And before anybody asks, no, you can't actually, ouch, you can't. Nice. Actually, that's perfect. Oh dear. We're not getting hit very hard. Sometimes you'll get hit so hard that maybe you'll wind up like facing this way. Like, let's say, oh my gosh, can you guys stop? I'm trying to film a video. Oh my God. Okay, maybe I'll back up for a second. I don't know. Okay, so imagine we got hit by a car really hard and we're like looking this way. Well, if we go to run, he'll walk forward, but that's it, because he's going to press the key button, but we'll hit an error. So I'm just going to stop that. So we hit that nan. So what should we do in a scenario like that, right? Like the AI needs to figure out how to write itself. So the way that we can handle for that is, let's bring back Sublime Text. Cool. And as you might guess, try and accept. Like I said, I'm sure there's a better way. If you want to, hopefully I'll put it up on GitHub, and if someone has better logic, have at it. This is what we did. So essentially, this is the original, or the code that we just ran. But if this fails, so notice that we're passing map. If this fails, let's just do this exact same thing. So we could probably at least condense the code in a few ways. But basically, we're doing the same thing. We're just going to use the full minimap. So let's go ahead and save that, and let's see. This one's looking pretty goofy. I don't know if this is actually going to work, but we'll just see. We'll see what happens. So let's get everything set up. We'll leave Sublime Text, bring back the command prompt, run the script, and let's see what happens, I guess. Oh, actually, wow, it is fixing itself. Okay, cool. I didn't know if it would actually be able to turn quickly enough, but it does. Do we get stuck here maybe? Nope. Oh, I think we would have actually made it. We just ran out of frames. But I think if I just press the W key, yeah, we'll get around it. But there are going to be times where we also get stuck on like a little planter like this and all that. And I'll show you how to handle that as well. Okay, so it looks like that kind of like zoom out logic worked acceptably. So let's go back to our little starting spot here. Okay, so here's an example where we will likely have to zoom out to find the path as well. So even though we're pointed in the right direction, I believe it's zoomed out so far. Like if you can see, the little dotted lines don't come all the way to the character. So our initial really zoomed in view like won't work. And again, this is just one of those examples where it's just really weird. And sometimes the blue path will do that, but the yellow path won't, or vice versa. But we're trying to follow the blue path. So just take note of that. It's just kind of weird. So, okay, so that's our logic there. The other thing that I wanted to fix was the mouse, because the mouse movement, while it is functional, I find it to be very annoying. So there's a few ways. I'm only going to show you the kind of two major ways that I went about solving this. But essentially, what makes it jaggedy is instantly moving a lot of pixels. So ideally, you would want to iterate and move like 1 or 2 something pixels at a time. So first off, let me copy that, and don't forget to bring back Sublime. And what we want to do is when we get this error, so rather than doing this, essentially we're just moving in the amount of the error times 3. We don't really want to do that. So instead, we're going to iterate over that movement and just move that, basically move some amount basically, and I just kept changing various versions. So at least the -1 was used to like flip the sign. So in this case, I'm just doing error over absolute error, essentially to flip the sign. I messed with this so many times that I can almost guarantee that somebody's going to post a comment and be like, you idiot, you would just do this. And it would be super simple. I recognize that. Like I said, I spent way too long. This isn't what I ended up with either, but I believe what we do end up with uses the same logic. So sometimes I just get the spidey sense that I've done something really dumb. And I just want to preempt it by saying I'm sorry. So anyway, let's at least take a look at what this looks like. And then I'll show you what I ended up with and kind of explain. Because what I ended up with is a little more than this, but essentially all this is doing is moving a smaller amount of pixels at a time. So rather than moving the full error. So I'll just add a slight angle to it. Hopefully it'll find a path. It should fall back. Yeah, wow, it actually fell back. Okay. Totally forgot to show the game when I ran that. So let's just rerun that one more time. Okay. And I'm going to move the mouse a little bit just to initially show the wiggle that we get. Okay. So this is pretty acceptable. I don't like it because it does a lot of like small jaggedy movements still, but it's way better than what it was. That's for sure. So that's a pretty good adjustment. Now I just want to make one more adjustment, kind of show you what I ended up with and why. But like I said, I'm sure some people can come up with a way better solution than what I've done. Just trying to get this map to update. Cool. So let's bring back Sublime Text, not the command window. I don't need that. And let me bring this over. And we'll do this. So essentially, again, you're just trying to move in small amounts at a time. That's kind of the name of the game. But this is what I ended with. So the idea here is to calculate a full range. And again, I made so many like small tweaks over time that I remember one time I wrote a lot of code to take like, so rather than, a dictionary is like a key that references to a value. And then I changed something in my script, and then I actually wrote code so basically my script was taking a value and looking for a key. And then I changed some stuff in my script, and I was using the key looking for a value, but I wrote some pretty complex code to do that. And then it like clicked that I was, you would just reference it like you would any other dictionary. But yeah, so those are mistakes that get made. So I'm sure there's a better way to do this. But what I'm doing here is essentially we calculate the full range that I want to take, and then I'm going to iterate through that full range. As I iterate through that full range, as we make our way to halfway through that full range, I move in plus equals 1 pixel at a time. So first we'll move 1 pixel, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and so on. So it begins to move quicker, and then it slows down. So that's kind of more what you would see when you move a mouse, right? It's not going to immediately move at top speed. It's going to speed up and then slow down as you reach like your objective. So just to show what's going on there. Also the sleep. I really just needed something to slow it down. So like without the sleep, it basically moves instantly, and that's no good. This is not functional. It's just as functional as doing, I don't know, hello. It's pretty much the same as doing that. I'm pretty sure. Just have something here to slow it down slightly. That's all. So let me go ahead and remove Sublime Text, add in the command prompt, and run that. I'm going to, again, move it a little bit. And you can see my beautiful work. It's just, it's like just slightly smoother to me. So I'm just going to bump the mouse one more time. It just looks a little better to me. Again, you might disagree. You might think of a better way to do it, but I like this way better. So when the moves are really small, it doesn't move like super fast, but when the move is big, it can get there relatively quickly. So it's just a nice way to dynamically impact, I guess, the fastest movement that you might make. Anyway, so that's functional. Cool. So let me hopefully reset our path again. There we go. So we still have a couple more things that we need to address. Let me bring back up Sublime Text. And those two things are, quality of life wise, we need a way to pause the script. So the way that I'm going to do that is use the get keys script that we used with the PyGTA series. And that's actually a really simple script. Again, I'll put a link to that, but also let me just pull it up in Sublime Text. Here we go. So as you can see, it's just looking to see what keys are pressed. It stores them into like a little list like this. And what we're going to do is, if any key is, or if a specific key is pressed, that will we'll decide which key is the key to pause. But we want something to be able to pause the script, because the script is taking control of the mouse, and that can get very challenging because eventually we want to run this on a while true, but then it becomes very hard to stop the script. So that's what we're going to use get keys for. So first of all, just up at the top, we're going to, from get keys, we're going to import key check. And then what I'm going to do is come down to basically here, right before our loop. And we're just going to say paused status. And we'll say, for now, that's false. And then what we'll do is, essentially, before we do anything else, we'd like to see, so before we waste any processing, we want to go ahead and make some checks. So I'm going to copy this, come down here, paste, and we're going to tab all this over before I forget. Boom. Cool. So now what's happening is pressed is that list of keys that are currently being pressed. I'm choosing Y because I don't think it conflicts with any key in the game. That's it. So I think in GTA we use T, but I forget what the T key does in Cyberpunk, but it's used for something. Maybe phone. I can't remember. Anyway, so if we press Y, then we're just going to flip the bit. So either it's going to be paused or not. If we are paused, then just print paused, sleep, and just wait until we're not paused. So if we're paused, we'll do that. Otherwise, run as usual. Oh my gosh, why? I just caught that gross. Let's see if I can fix that. I thought I already fixed that as the default, but I guess I didn't. Whoops. Hopefully, I don't see any other tabs. Okay, so we'll save that. And let's go ahead and run it and see how we do. We'll test that, and then if that works, we can go ahead and, rather than range anything, we can just make it a while true loop. So let me move this over. That. Up. If Y impressed. What did we do? Oh, I thought we checked. I think that's it. I think that's all that error was, but it's kind of weird. Unindent does not match the outer. I believe the rest is fine. I'm not sure what I would be missing. I think we're good. Please? Yes. I really need a win today. Okay. Oh, let's go ahead and test a pause. Okay, so the key, I'll explain that in a minute. But we are paused, and then we can unpause, and we could continue walking. I haven't really decided how best to handle the key press. Essentially, all I want to use the pause for is actually probably to stop the script. I'm pretty close to thinking you might as well just break it if we press the key. But anyway, so that appears to work, but the key does stay depressed. You could add some logic to undepress it. Also, just as a note, so like here, for example, the blue path begins coming towards the character, but you can see the yellow path doesn't for some reason. Anyway, weird stuff like that happens. I just wanted to say. Also, okay, in this case, as you can see, the yellow path makes it all the way to the character, but not the blue path. So anyway, a couple of quick examples of why we needed the logic that we needed. Okay, so now we've got the pausing capability, and finally, we're going to top it all off with some motion detection. So strangely enough, I have not run into a car yet. I swear it happens all the time. Maybe now is actually the time. I'm actually going to go ahead and pause the game because I want that to hopefully stay the case. The other thing I could do, because the AI in this game is actually so stupid, I think what we'll do is I'll actually block the road. They will not drive around you. it's, oh, God. He's blocking me now. Okay. Thank you, idiot. Oh. Okay, so hopefully now that we've created a traffic jam, we'll have some cars to walk into. Although, knowing my luck, I will probably walk perfectly in between them, but okay. So, so the thinking here is to use motion detection, and if there isn't enough motion, jump. And as funny as it is, that's pretty much always the solution. Also, in this game, you have like a double jump. So we could, sorry, buddy, we could do something like that as well. But for now, I think we'll just do a regular jump. Also, like, I think if you're like up against something, a lot of games have this, like, and then you jump, you'll like actually climb. So if there's like a fence in our way or something like that, we'll be able to just climb over it as well with just by pressing the space key. So that's what we're going to do now. So let me bring back Sublime Text. I think I've done good enough. I made one mistake bringing up Sublime Text. Hopefully we're going to have a good... last time I didn't realize that I hadn't brought something up for like, I don't know, 20 minutes. Anyway, so... okay, so we want to do motion detection. So the way that we're going to... Essentially, motion detection is just a difference in pixels. So again, just like everything I've done here, there's like a million ways to do motion detection. We're just going to implement a really basic one, and it will hopefully be good enough. So the first thing we're going to use is the deck from collections. So from collections, import deck. And essentially what this does for us is, I'll just say for now, screens is deck. And then we're going to specify a max len of 2. So a deck is like a container that will have a maximum size, and then as new elements come in, old ones get removed. So we're just going to store the screens in here, and then we'll just compare screens, so one to the other one, and then measure how much change has happened, and that is motion detection. It's that simple. So coming down to our script here, and in fact, I think we'll just call this while true now. We don't really, I think we're all set. I don't think we'll get in trouble as long as we can press the Y key. So, so coming down here, if we aren't paused, we grab the screen. We're going to use screen to do this, but one of the things we probably could do it with the full screen. It's just kind of silly. We don't need the full screen. So after we slice for the mini map and mini map, I just resized the screen. We could, you could resize first and then slice the maps. I just didn't feel like having to come up with the new values, so this is what I did. So then all we need to do now that we have the two screens is we just compare the two screens. And again, essentially, I'll just paste this in first actually. Essentially, what motion detection is pretty much this line, but we're gonna do a few other things. Generally, you'll do this on grayscale, but if you're gonna do anything else, we could change the orders. I just literally built this and went with whatever worked immediately. But you could do the diff on the gray and then blur, and then anyway, it doesn't really matter the order. But essentially, it is. It's just doing an absolute difference between two frames, and that will give you some degree of motion. But we do add in a couple of other things here. So I think I'll just paste it all in, and then we'll kind of describe what's going on. So paste, and again, this is just kind of like your garden variety motion detection. So we grab the difference, we're going to grayscale the difference, blur it a little bit, and then threshold. And this way, we only will have either black or white pixels. There will be nothing in between. So the diff is quite literally going to be a scalar difference. But what we're going to do is we're going to calculate that difference. We're going to grayscale it, add a little bit of a blur, and then threshold it. And then in this case, what we're doing is we're going to just calculate, again, using that argware, how many pixels are 255. So the difference will be a non-zero, so above zero. And then we're going to threshold. So if the color change is more than 50 essentially, then it will become 255 after we do the threshold. So what we're going to do is we're going to take those movements, and did we... I don't think I have the movements here. I think that's another deck. Yeah, okay. I added one more thing. So essentially you could do it frame by frame, but what I ended up finding was like some frames, for whatever reason, you just won't get that much detected movement, even when you are moving. And even after I made this change, it still happened, but it was a little better. Worst case scenario, you walk down a path and you jump, right? It's not terrible, but I'd rather not jump everywhere, but it's not the end of the world if you do. But so what I want to do is come up to, besides screens, we're going to say movements, and that'll be a deck of length 10. You could change this, you can tweak this. I just honestly took guesses, and it worked pretty fine out of the box. So coming back down, so yeah, we append the movement count there, and then we just calculate the average. And then I'm just printing it out, and I just wanted to print it out before I came up with what should our threshold for jumping be. We are going to show it so you can see it. It may come up the first time. I might have to make some changes in OBS so we can see it, but show the movement detection so we can actually see the threshold movement. And then if the movement average is less than 10,000, go ahead and press the space bar. So I think that's everything. We're going to see. We just added quite a bit, so it's possible I forgot something. But let's get the command window, come over to here, and there's like totally a path there. I'm going to be so angry if we go between like that brown car and that little green car. Let's see what happens. Also, I'm curious if we'll see the other window. I don't even see it. I'm not sure where it is. Anyway, well, I'll show. Oh, yeah, come on. Get stuck. Also, I must not have saved. Because we're totally stuck. He's not jumping. What is happening? I'm actually kind of confused. I think the script just like broke, maybe? Okay, we definitely did not save. So I'm going to try one more time. Not sure where anybody went. So you can see the movement averages, at least. They're quite high, like when you're normally moving. And then hopefully it will slow down enough. We got close, not quite. There we go. So now we jumped over the truck, or whatever that was, the SUV. Can't convert, so it looks like we're hitting some fail safes. Still working, though. Hopefully we'll get over this car. Somehow, I guess maybe we need to just get back on our path, because we are off that path just slightly. There we go. And we are on our way. I'm not sure if you can see. I'm not sure what you can see, to be honest. So can you see that other? No, so you can't see, for some reason, the movement detection. I do kind of want to show that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause. See if I can get away with this. I want you to see. Let's see if I can pull this up. Okay, so I've got the movement or the motion detection down in the lower right. I think I'm showing everything I should show. So we're just still on our way. And I mean, everything looks to be going well. So as you can see, we're kind of I think we're approaching. I forget exactly where the spot is that we're supposed to go. So it got kind of dark here. So like I said, like sometimes you're just going to jump. I'm not really sure how I want to handle for that yet. But we are making our way slowly but surely to something going on over here. So eventually we want to get here. There's baddies here, and we want to handle the bad guys. Right now we've got nothing, and we're probably going to die, so let me just get out of here. Hello, friends. Good day. Ouch. Please stop. No, not... Okay, we died. Okay, one more run. Let's see how that works. Hopefully we'll get everything to pop up at the same time. I think we've got a pretty good handle of like all the things that I really wanted to do. If you go right in between those cars, I'm going to be very angry. Yes. Anyway, I think we've got a pretty good handling of like all the little things that we want to achieve here. As far as following the path, I think this will do a good enough job. I think we're still going to be able to get stuck on certain things. And we'll just have to kind of figure out how are we going to get through things as they come up. But I think this will probably work for, I don't know, 95% of the time. I'm not really sure. So now that we've actually made our way to the enemies, the decision is, what do we want to do about it? So I'm going to go ahead and pause before we get there and end up getting killed again. So we've got lots of options when we get to the enemies. I haven't totally decided if anybody wants to make a place a vote for, I don't know, a rifle. We have shotguns. We've got sniper rifle. And then we have the mantis blades, and these are kind of fun as well. So how should we handle these enemies? Do we handle them from afar, up close? We also could probably handle them randomly. So, we could have something that, uses some sort of weapon and then randomly switches weapons and stuff like that. There's all kinds of stuff that we could definitely do. Because this is paused, if I do this. Interesting. Anyway, there's all kinds of things that we could do. Wow, why does that happen? That happened a second ago as well. I don't know why when we pause, sometimes that all pops up. Anyway, yeah. So if you have any interest on what weapon of choice you think we should use, place your vote below. Otherwise, I think this is a good stopping point. We've been going for quite some time, and this is kind of where I left off. I couldn't really decide how do I want to handle those guys. So yeah, let me know below. If you've got questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, let me know you think I'm stupid for my mouse movement. Let me know. Otherwise, I will see you guys in another video.